Lucy again felt that this did not do. In hell, he repeated. He's unhappy. Oh, dear, said Lucy. How can he be unhappy when he is strong and alive? What more is one to give him? And think how he has been brought up free from all the superstition and ignorance that lead men to hate one another in the name of God. With such an education as that, I thought he was bound to grow up happy. She was no theologian, but she felt that here was a very foolish old man, as well as a very irreligious one. She also felt that her mother might not like her talking to that kind of person, and that Charlotte would object most strongly. What are we to do with him? He asked. He comes out for his holiday to Italy, and behaves like that, like the little child who ought to have been playing, and who hurt himself upon the tombstone. Eh? What did you say? Lucy had made no suggestion. Suddenly he said. Now don't be stupid over this. I don't require you to fall in love with my boy, but I do think you might try and understand him. You are nearer his age, and if you let yourself go I am sure you are sensible. You might help me. He has known so few women, and you have the time. You stop here several weeks, I suppose? But let yourself go. You are inclined to get muddled, if I may judge from last night. Let yourself go. Pull out from the depths those thoughts that you do not understand, and spread them out in the sunlight and know the meaning of them. By understanding George you may learn to understand yourself. It will be good for both of you. To this extraordinary speech Lucy found no answer. I only know what it is that's wrong with him, not why it is. And what is it? Asked Lucy fearfully, expecting some harrowing tale. The old trouble, things won't fit. What things? The things of the universe. It is quite true. They don't. Oh, Mr. Emerson, whatever do you mean? In his ordinary voice, so that she scarcely realized he was quoting poetry, he said. From far, from even morning. And yon 12-winded sky. The stuff of life to knit me. Blew hither, here am I. George and I both know this, but why does it distress him? We know that we come from the winds, and that we shall return to them, that all life is perhaps a knot, a tangle, a blemish in the eternal smoothness. But why should this make us unhappy? Let us rather love one another, and work and rejoice. I don't believe in this world's sorrow. Miss Honeychurch assented. Then make my boy think like us. Make him realize that by the side of the everlasting why there is a yes, a transitory yes if you like, but a yes. Suddenly she laughed, surely one ought to laugh. A young man melancholy because the universe wouldn't fit, because life was a tangle or a wind, or a yes, or something. I'm very sorry, she cried. You'll think me unfeeling, but then she became matronly. Oh, but your son wants employment. Has he no particular hobby? Why, I myself have worries, but I can generally forget them at the piano, and collecting stamps did no end of good for my brother. Perhaps Italy bores him, you ought to try the Alps or the lakes. The old man's face saddened, and he touched her gently with his hand. This did not alarm her, she thought that her advice had impressed him and that he was thanking her for it. Indeed, he no longer alarmed her at all, she regarded him as a kind thing, but quite silly. Her feelings were as inflated spiritually as they had been an hour ago aesthetically, before she lost Baedeker. The dear George, now striding towards them over the tombstones, seemed both pitiable and absurd. He approached, his face in the shadow. He said, Miss Bartlett. Oh, good gracious me, said Lucy, suddenly collapsing and again seeing the whole of life in a new perspective. Where? Where? In the nave. I see. Those gossiping little Miss Allens must have, she checked herself. Poor girl, exploded Mr. Emerson. Poor girl. She could not let this pass, for it was just what she was feeling herself. Poor girl? I fail to understand the point of that remark. I think myself a very fortunate girl, I assure you. I'm thoroughly happy, and having a splendid time. Pray don't waste time mourning over _me_. There's enough sorrow in the world, isn't there, without trying to invent it. Goodbye. Thank you both so much for all your kindness. Ah, yes. There does come my cousin. A delightful morning. Santa Croce is a wonderful church. She joined her cousin.